welcome back to Weekly Korean Live class, and this is Keijin. 안녕하세요, Keijin입니다. So, 안녕하세요, Keijin입니다. Can you see this? So today we already got a lot of comments. Thank you, Cody and Davos Babal and Steve. Oh, you have to go to sleep. Don't worry, we always upload this YouTube video on YouTube and Facebook right after this live. So don't worry, you can watch it later. So CM Lady, 안녕하세요. And T-Jump and Crystal Delto, Mr. Mint Green, Sean Walsh. Oh, 100th live stream. Thank you for counting. Because I started this Korean YouTube live stream in August in 2017. So it's been 2 years, and thank you so much for learning with me and KoreanClass101.com. And beyond the scene, Leah, 안녕하세요. And oh, T-Jam, you're from Israel. Oh, I tried to come up with an Israeli greeting, but 안녕하세요. And M-Chang, Heart Promise, thank you very much. And today we are going to talk about learning abroad versus learning at home. So how did you learn Korean, and how are you learning Korean? And which do you think works better to you, and which do you think is more fun to you? So let me know. And Shista hi, good afternoon, teacher. 안녕하세요. Amy Lin, Yoongi Smile, Galaxy Girl, and Wolfie's World. Okay, so I think we are all ready to start, right? Ready? And Yeltsin, 안녕하세요. Hello, 김태영, Samnin, Sa. Okay, so before starting our lesson, 따라라란, Hangul. Can you guys read this? Hangul. Hangul, it means Korean alphabet. Han is Korean and Gul means letter alphabet. So it means Korean alphabet. Some people are mixed with 한국어. Oops. 한국어. Hangul means Korea, the country, and all is a language. So Hangul is alphabet and 한국어 is a language, Korean language like English language or French language, Spanish language. But you say alphabet, right? Alphabet is Hangul. So don't mix it with it. And if you're not able to read this, no. We have free Hangul cheat sheet for you, free Hangul workbook. So you can learn Hangul with this free worksheet. So please check it out. It's free, and Hangul should be the first thing if you want to be fluent in Korean, if you want to master the language. So we are giving away this free. So I hope you find this ebook so helpful, and you can find my 20 minutes Hangul video to master the Hangul quickly. So check it out. I hope you like it. And Asa, I love everything about Korea so much. That's why I'm trying my best learning Korean by watching your videos. Thank you. That's great. Okay, so let's compare learning abroad. Oh, I don't have eraser. Okay, so learning abroad. So what do you think? What do you think about learning Korean in Korea? Is it helpful, or what do you think? What do you think is the pros and cons? Today, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons and how you can learn the Korean language, because I learned English and I also learned Japanese. I'm also learning another language right now. So it's not only for Korean language, but this will be very helpful for your language learning. So first, some people might ask you, 따라란, 어디서 한국어를 배웠어요? 어디서 한국어를 배웠어요? 어디서 means where. 한국어 means the Korean language. 한국 means Korea, the country. means language. So 한국어 means the Korean language. 를 is an object marking particle. Marking 한국어 is object of this sentence. 배웠어요 means did you learn? 배웠어요. 배웠어요. It's okay. So 배웠어요 is the spoken form of 배우다, 배우다. So polite spoken form of 배우다 meaning to learn. So 어디서 한국어를 배웠어요 meaning where did you learn Korean? So some people might ask you, wow, your Korean is amazing. Where did you learn Korean? Then you can say it. 한국에서 배웠어요. 한국에서 배웠어요. It means I learned it in Korea. 한국, again, it means the country, right? South Korea. 한국, 한국에서, 에서 is a location marking particle. So 한국에서 means in Korea. 배웠어요. It's same here, right? Same here. The past form of learned. 배웠어요. 배웠어요. I learned it in Korea. So if you change 한국 to something else like school, 학교, school, 학교. 학교에서 배웠어요. That means I learned it in school. So you can change this sentence to answer this kind of question. And really just said a great thing. I learned at work. 일하면서 배웠어요. I learned while studying. 일하면서 배웠어요. Or if you want to put the location, 회사 means company. 회사 means company. 회사에서 배웠어요. I learned it in my company. And 김태형, 배웠어요 is the past tense of 배우다. That's right. Past tense and polite spoken form. Okay, and K-kun, I'm late. I'm sorry, teacher. You're not late. Thank you for joining. And 답은 마스터 봐봐. No, not romanization. Exactly. I put the romanization for many beginner learners, but I strongly recommend not to use romanization because this will ruin your pronunciation. Korean pronunciation cannot be exactly romanized in the English alphabet. So if you just try to read this, then they will ruin your pronunciation. So I just wrote it for beginners, but please try to read this Hangul only. And if you are not familiar, we have ebooks, so please check it out. Okay, so this will be the question. This will be the answer. So let's talk about it. So what do you think? What's the benefit of learning Korean in Korea? First, there are a lot of opportunities, right? So if you turn on TV, everyone is speaking Korean. And then if you go out, everyone is speaking Korean. If you go to the restaurant, you have to speak Korean. So you will be surrounded by the language always without putting any effort. So that's a great chance, right? So you can practice listening or writing easily. You have more chances to do that. But there are also some challenges that I'm going to introduce. So this is a great motivation too, because anyway, you have to use it, right? Yeah, I think everyone knows about benefit of learning Korean in Korea, so I focus on challenges because everyone is dreaming about learning Korean in Korea. So first, the challenges, it's not realistic. I mean, it is realistic, but think about it. To go to Korea, you have to buy flight ticket, you have to find the accommodation, and what else? You have to find school, or you have to prepare a lot. You need to spend a lot of money, so it's not actually very easy. And if you are not staying in Korea for a long time but just traveling, well, you might not be able to learn the language. You will be able to pick up some words but not learn the language, unfortunately. You have to sit down somewhere and then actually make a note and try to memorize. That's the process of learning. So just living in Korea doesn't mean that you can be fluent in Korea. You need to study. And then we are getting lots of comments. The Smiley 84, it is actually the romanization that I find most difficult. I 100% agree. If you learn the Hangul, you will realize, wow, romanization is actually harder than Hangul. So learn the Hangul first. That's, as a teacher, that's my first tip. So if you just look at the romanization, it's very difficult. And then Kim Tae-young, I used 1 week to memorize the alphabet too. So try to work hard and don't give up. Right, Korean alphabet is very easy. So see, Kim Tae-young spent just 1 week and memorized everything, and now they can read all the Korean alphabet. So Korean alphabet is really easy to master. So check it out and practice writing. Hano alphabet is very easy. I know. So if you see these unfamiliar letters, a lot of foreign students said, I'm so scared I can't, but you can, don't worry. Oh, see, you see a lot of comment. People said it's easy. Some people said, oh, I memorized everything in 2 hours, 3 hours. So you can do it. It's not difficult at all. Brianna, I started learning Hangul first. That's so smart. Okay. Thank you for your comment. Tabu Master Baba said, I learned Hangul in 30 minutes. So smart. Rihanna, Korean alphabet is easy for me. Yeah. So, there are more challenges. You know, people lived in Korea for many, many years, and I still know some of foreign students who don't speak fluent Korean. Why? Because you can survive without Korean actually. Of course, to understand the culture better, to get close to Korean people better, and then if you have more fun in Korea, Korean language is must have. But if you're okay with hanging out with English speaking friends, and you're okay with English subtitles or English translations, then you can survive at least. So some people who don't put effort in learning a language just end up not becoming fluent. So you always need to study. You just don't, living in a country doesn't solve your problem. So that's the challenge. Remember that. And then also few people will be truly dedicated to helping you learning and improve. Do you agree with that? For example, I had an argument, I had a fight with my friends, and so I'm telling you, you know what? I have an argument with my friends, Jane. You know, but then do you think Korean people will correct every single mistake you are making? No, as long as what you say makes sense, they are not gonna correct you. So you don't even know you are making a mistake. You keep making the same mistake over and over again if you don't study, if you have nobody to study. Oh, the Smiley 84, that is such a shame. I know. That's why living abroad, living in Korea is not always the answer. Even though you live in Korea, you have to put effort in studying yourself. Find time and sit down at your desk at home and study. Liana, thank you. Elizabeth Hakwin, I want to live there. Living in Korea is actually awesome. I'm not saying living in Korea is bad for language learning, but it's not the dream that you expect. You still have to study yourself if you want to be a fluent Korean speaker. And if you want to live in Korea, my advice is study basic Korean first. So if you're not at a higher level, there will be a lot of challenges. So first, you will be spoken to in English. For example, if Korean people see foreigners like me, I also speak English to them because I don't know if they can speak Korean or not. So first I speak English to you. So you will less likely to have a chance to speak Korean if you are at a certain level. Because, well, Think about it. If you are at basic level, it's very hard to continue the conversation. So to have the conversation, people try to speak Korean at first and then change to English because they know that your level is not as high as they can have good conversation. So I really strongly recommend you to master the alphabet at least, first alphabet and basic grammars and basic phrases. So if you start from here, you can get more advanced phrases easily, but if you don't know anything, no alphabet, no grammar, then you have to start here. So if two people live in Korea for 3 months, imagine this person knows Korean alphabet and know basic phrases, basic grammar, so they can observe more and more grammar, more and vocabulary, but this person doesn't know anything about grammar, vocabulary, then they have to start from here. So there's a limit. So always try to learn the basic before coming to Korea. It's me, Brianna. Does having a Korean friend help you too? Yes, it will help you, but unfortunately, they are not going to correct every single mistake you have because they might feel it's rude. I mean, you are talking seriously and they have to stop. Like, no, you use the wrong particle. Oh, well, in this case, it's better to use this vocabulary. They are not going to correct you every time. So you might be end up in using the easy vocabulary or easy grammar or wrong sentence too, like a lot of mistake because they are not correcting you, so you don't know if you are speaking good. So that's why you need a teacher actually, and you need to study yourself. And Sarah Lazar's bet, how can it does my Korean friend help me? Yes, Korean friends still help you. And also that's how I learned English and Japanese too. They help me too, but not like teacher. So if you expect them to be like your teacher and teach you every single details, then maybe it's very tiring to them. Okay, so then how about learning at home? Learning at home. Then, so if someone asks you, where did you learn Korean? You can say, I learned it at home. 집에서 배웠어요. 집 means house or home. 에서 again location marking particle and 배웠어요. 집에서 배웠어요. There is another word for this. So I learned alone. I learned alone is 독학. 독학 is a noun meaning studying alone. 독학 했어요. 했어요 means I did. So it literally means I did study alone. 독학했어요. I studied alone. 독학했어요. So if you want to say, wow, your Korean is great. Where did you learn? Oh, I learned it myself. 독학했어요. 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 Okay. And 따란, as you already know, the challenge of learning at home is you have limited opportunity to practice, right? So if you want to hear, if you want to watch something Korean, then you have to find something yourself. It's not naturally exposed, right? And also it's not urgent, you know. So you can learn it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. It's okay. You can still make a living in your country, right? There's no problem. So that's the challenges. But there are a lot of benefits. So even though you study Korean abroad, I strongly believe that you need to study at home too. So when you hear a new vocabulary, you have to come back home and then write down in your notes and then try to read many times, read it out, and then write it many times and make a flashcard that will help you memorize longer. Okay, so if you study at home, then you can have a regular study sessions. If you study abroad, well, you still need to set up your own time, but at home is easier, right? Always 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. You sit down there and study. And then also, you don't have to rush yourself. You can learn at your own pace. For example, this grammar is very difficult. In that case, you can spend more time there, or you can skip it for now because it's too difficult and learn something else and come back. So you can be more flexible. And then also, the important thing is this. You can immerse yourself in content that's at your level. For example, if you are abroad in Korea, you will hear a lot of advanced vocabulary. It's too difficult for you. So you cannot observe all the vocabulary, and you just end up not using it because it's too advanced. But if you're a beginner and you are exposed yourself into the beginner level vocabulary, then you can actually use them in your sentence because it's not very difficult, right? And and also these days there's internet everywhere. So even at home, you can find native speakers using the application, mobile application, or the website, or there are meetup groups. I know in many countries there are some Korean people who want to learn your language and they want to have a language exchange friend. You can find them. So you can find mobile app. Application, mobile application in Korean is app, or 어플. So both means app, application in Korean. Okay, Kun, that's nice. So when you learn something, you write it on your notebook every time I learn new Korean words. That really helps because that's how I learned language too. So when I come across new words, then I check the dictionary and try to see the examples, and then also check the pronunciation and write down on my notes and try to see it many times. And this too. So if you study at home, you can get an online tutor. So don't worry, even though you're not living in Korea, you can still get a great teacher online. Even we have Premium Plus teacher on our website, so they will always help you. So don't worry, these days the online is very advanced. So you can find Korean learning materials, teachers, or Korean speaking friends on the internet. Okay, so for those of you who want to learn Korean at home with KoreanClass101.com, I want to give you some tips. So first, someone asks you, your Korean is great. Wow, you know a lot of Korean phrases. Who's your teacher? You can say my name, or you can also say KoreanClass101.com에서 한국어를 배웠어요. 따란, in Korean pronunciation, Korean is Korean. Class in Korean pronunciation is class. So this is Korean class. And 101. 101 is 101. KoreanClass101.com. This is how we read this English word. KoreanClass101.com. 에서 is a location marking particle, right? 에서 한국어, Korean language, 를 object marking particle. 한국어를 배웠어요. It means I learned. Learned. Okay, so I want to show you our website. This is an example lesson. Let's see, what lesson is it? Oh, how to take a taxi in Seoul. You wanna watch it a little bit? Oh, how to...
잠시만요. 이제 대주세요. 감사합니다.
Actually, do you see this? We have the closed caption, so if you don't understand what the teacher is saying in the video, you can always turn on the subtitle and then watch it. So this is a video about how to take a taxi in Seoul. Taxi is not very expensive in Seoul, so if you visit Korea and if you want to go somewhere, you can take a taxi, or subway is very convenient too, so you can also take it. I think for me bus is easy too, but for foreigners bus might be hard, because when I go abroad I find it hard to get a bus, so I usually take a train or taxi. But this lesson will be very helpful. You can learn some phrases when you take a taxi, like this. Oh.
홍대에 가주세요.
Did you hear that? 홍대 가주세요. 홍대 is the name of the place, and 가주세요 means please go to. So 홍대 가주세요 means please go to Hongdae. So you can use this phrase in the taxi. So these are the dialogue and conversation that appear in the video, so you can watch it later. So I'm not going to explain every single thing, because this lesson explain all the grammar or vocabulary very well, so I'll skip it. So this is the dialogue, and then these are the useful vocabulary and phrases.
티머니.
티머니. Slow version.
티머니.
T-money. It's a transportation card in Korea. So T-money is transportation money. T-money, T-money. So you always need it when you take a bus or train or even taxi, you can use it. So these are the words you can find in the video. So what I recommend you to study Korean with this lesson is take this video lesson first. Ta-da-da-da. This video lesson, and check the vocabulary. So if you know all this vocabulary, this dialogue will be easier. So check this out. And then if you are not sure what teacher is saying exactly, we transcribe every single word the teacher say. So don't worry, you can always check it out. And if you have any question, just leave a comment. Oh, cute emoticons. So leave question like this, teacher will answer that. And also on our website there are a lot of fun learning materials for free learning materials. For example, vocab list. So top 10 Korean dramas to help you learn Korean. Interesting. So you can check it out. Or top 10 inspirational Korean quotes. So Korean Class 101 website, we really did our best to make the Korean learning much more fun to you. So check it out. Check out our website and you can get lots of learning materials, including these video lessons, audio lesson, vocab, flashcard, grammar bank, and also this free Hangul cheat sheet. Ta-da! Can you see this? You can practice writing, learn some vocabulary, there's some quiz. So just click the link in the description. So I hope you like our website. And ta-da-dan. Yes, this is the Hangul. So if you're not able to download, you can just go to this link directly to koreanclass101.com/learn Hangul. Okay, so this will be our next topic. I hope today's lesson was helpful. So this method is helpful for any other language learning too, as a language learner. So I hope you find this lesson useful, and please keep learning with koreanclass101.com and me. Okay, so next week I'm going to talk about must know Korean verbs. So there are many Korean verbs, right? So I'll pick important ones, and then how to use them in a sentence. So please join it. It will be Thursday 1 p.m. in Korean time as usual, and it will be fun as usual. And the Smile 84, I do. The website is a great resource. Thank you. It's great. Yeah, my favorite is actually the vocab list. So I listen to vocabulary, and also on our lesson page there's voice recorder. So you record your voice and compare it with native speakers' pronunciation, and you try to change your intonation or accent or the speed until I match the native speaker's pronunciation. So that will help you improve your pronunciation. So please check it out. TJM, when is the live stream? It will be next Thursday, which will be September 5th. September 5th. But it will be Thursday in Korean time, 1 p.m. in Korean time. So in your country, it might be Wednesday or it will be at night. So please check out the time at your country. Keikun, teacher, I followed you Instagram. Thank you. Thank you. And the teacher, when is the next live stream? I wanna learn. This is it. And Mr. Chim Chim. Oh, Mr. Chim Chim. This guy's name is Chim Chim too. Mr. Chim Chim, I only learned from this channel. Thank you. I can't wait. Beyond the Scene, thank you. You learn Korean from KoreanClass101.com. That's great. And Pubala on Facebook, thank you for the live, teacher. Thank you for joining today's class. I was very happy to see you guys again. And Anna, thank you. Anna always support me, encourage me a lot. Thank you very much. Anna, Daisy, Rosales, Vasquez. Is it correct? And then thank you very much. And 다음 시간에 봐요. So 다음 시간에 봐요. It means see you next time. 다음 means next. 시간 is time. 봐요 means see. So see you next time. Thank you very much for your comment. And K-kun, Mr. Chim Chim, and of course I love BTS. And Danger That's Treasure. Don't forget to like TJM and Rowena. Thank you very much. And if you're not able to read this Hangul, again the link is in the description. So check out this Hangul ebook. So thank you. Bye bye.